Katie and Sloan are two longtime best friends who are hanging out with their other friends. Just then, we see a guy handing out narcotics to everyone, but Katie refuses to take them until Sloan eventually persuades her. After enjoying the effects of the substance, Katie and Sloan return to their home and discuss their plans to go shopping in New York. However, because they don't have any money, the two friends plan to work for a month on an organic farm to save up for shopping. The following day, Katie's uncle Jason, who is an FBI detective, comes to pick the girls up from their home. The girls then decide to spend the night at the house where Jason lives with his girlfriend, Gemma. That evening, Sloan believes that they should use fake names on the farm, hoping to remain anonymous, and after some thinking, she decides to call herself Heather, whereas Katie names herself Ripley. The next morning, Jason drives the girls to the bus stop so they can get to the farm. The bus will take an hour to arrive, and Jason says he'll wait with them, but the girls ask him to leave. But before he leaves, Jason requests that Katie message him every day to ensure that they're okay. He also requests that she send him a different code word in alphabetical order every day. The safe word for the first day is apple, and the second message would be anything beginning with the letter B. After Jason leaves, the girls decide to wait for the bus at a nearby coffee shop, and a few moments later, two brothers named Jed and Lucas enter the cafe, capturing the girls' interest. The four then sit down, and the girls tell their fake names while introducing themselves, and while chatting, they tell the boys that they'll be working on a farm to earn money for shopping. Hearing this, the boys offer them a ride to the farm, but Katie's uncomfortable with the idea and declines. However, once the guys head outside, Sloan persuades Katie to join them, claiming that they're respectful and gorgeous. Katie eventually agrees after some persuasion, and the two girls get inside the men's blue truck. A while later, Jed passes by the farm where Katie and Sloan are supposed to go. The girls get worried and inquire where he's going, but he assures them that they will find out quickly. They soon arrive at the boys' house, where Jed informs them that all farmers come to their place for supplies, and he's simply helping them becoming acquainted with the area. The brothers then introduce Katie and Sloan to their mother, and finally, the girls are relieved to see another female there. Next, the mother invites the girls to have some tea before heading to the farm, and once they're inside, Katie receives a text from Jason, and she texts him the agreed safe word, apple. However, as soon as the girls eat the mother's pie, they begin to feel drowsy and realize they've been drugged. The two immediately run outside, but soon after, they pass out, while Jed and Lucas bring them inside. In the next scene, when Sloan and Katie finally wake up, they discover that they're confined to shipping containers in an isolated forest. When they call out for help, Jed responds with, "It's pointless because they're in the middle of nowhere." He informs them that the girls are given basic amenities to survive, such as clothes, a bed, and a toilet. After some time, the head of their operation, Boris, arrives and examines the girls. He takes Katie's phone and uses it to see if anyone's aware of their whereabouts. Furthermore, he also learns that the girls had lied about their names. Noticing the code Katie sent, Boris asks the girls about it. Just then, Sloan informs him that apple is the safe word, and he replies to Jason with the same code. Later, Lucas teaches the girls how to use the portable shower while Jed watches over them. Around the same time, the local sheriff named Andrew arrives with a rifle, and the girls scream for his help. At first, it appears that he's about to arrest Jed and Lucas, but then, suddenly, he begins laughing at them. Unfortunately, it turns out that he's also a member of the team and has come to force himself on one of the women. He thinks they're both quite gorgeous, and Jed offers him both of them, but Andrew eventually chooses Katie. This is where we find out that the boys are making a living by running a prostitution business. Later, Andrew is seen exiting Katie's container while zipping up his pants. Sloan then walks in to check on Katie, who seems devastated by what just happened to her. Elsewhere, Gemma informs Jason that he received a text from Katie saying everything is fine, but when he checks the message, he realizes that the code apple has been used again and becomes concerned. Gemma advises him to relax and claims that the girls are probably too busy to remember the code, but Jason has a feeling something is wrong. Back in the forest, Jade and Lucas arrive with another client who chooses Sloan, and once they're inside the container, Sloan spits on him, but he smacks her across the face and burns her with his cigarette. Meanwhile, outside the container, Katie and Lucas hear Sloan screaming in pain. Later, Jason calls the organic farm and finds that the girls have not shown up for work. Believing that they are in danger, he decides to look for them. On the other hand, Gemma is enraged because they were just about to meet her parents for dinner, but Jason apologizes to her and leaves. In the next scene, the girls suddenly hear a strange sound coming from a distance, but Jed and Lucas hastily cover the girls' faces with a black rag. Just then, a man in a pig mask approaches them and starts making animal noises. He then comes up to Sloan and drags her inside the trailer, where he brutally forces himself on her. Afterward, when he leaves, Katie rushes in to check on Sloan, who is very distraught and in pain. Meanwhile, Jason arrives at the police station and meets Andrew. While discussing the girl's disappearance, Andrew states that teenagers sometimes test their guardians and that they must have gone with boys. However, Jason knows they're in danger because Katie didn't use a new code word in her next text message. Hearing this, Andrew tells him that he would look into it and report back with any information he finds regarding their location. Afterward, Boris approaches the girls and tells them that they should not have lied to him about the code. Not wanting the FBI to get suspicious of them, he orders Jed to kill them both and dump their body. He believes that once the bodies of the girls are discovered, the detectives will leave them alone. They also talk about how they plan to bring new girls back from the bus the next day. However, unaware to them, Katie is eavesdropping on their conversation. On the other hand, Jason returns to the cafe where he last dropped off Katie and Sloan. He then shows the barista pictures of the girls and asks where he's seen them. The barista reveals that the girls were talking to two guys days ago and then all left together in a blue pickup truck. Back in the forest, Katie informs Sloan that they must escape soon since the men intend to murder them. Soon after that, Boris and Jed arrive with a client who has previously burnt Sloan with a cigarette. He then instructs the client to not approach the girls until the sheriff arrives. Immediately after Boris and Jed leave, Katie approaches the man and inquires if the two are going to seek out new girls. But the man replies he has no idea. She then takes advantage of this situation to tempt him, and once she gets close, she slashes his throat with her bare teeth. Taking this opportunity, the girls quickly untie their chains and hide. Soon after, Andrew arrives at the forest to kill the girls, but he's shocked to see the client's dead body. And while he's distracted, the girls get into his car and drive away. The girls then make their way to a hardware store to get some weapons and tools. While paying for the purchases, Katie asks the store clerk whether he knows Boris, but the clerk shakes in fear after hearing Boris's name. Meanwhile, Jason continues his investigation by paying a visit to the town's vehicle insurance office. He comes up with a story about accidentally colliding with a blue truck and inquires as to who owns it. He lies about wanting to find the owner so he can deal with the damage. Eventually, the ladies reveal that the only pickup truck on the registry is Boris Carlson's and gives Jason his home location. Meanwhile, Boris returns home and discovers someone turning on the record player. Suddenly, Katie throws a metal tool with sharp nails at his face, and with this, the girls continue to toss more objects at him. Soon, Boris begs the girls to let him go and offers them some money in return. Realizing they can use the money, the girls collect the money and then severely torture Boris before killing him. And when Jason finally arrives on the scene, he's shocked to find Boris's lifeless body. Later, Jason returns to the station to speak with Andrew, but the man claims that he has had no luck in finding the girls so far. Jason then decides to call Katie's phone again, and he hears the phone ringing behind him. Realizing his cover is blown, Andrew then takes out and points the gun at him. Elsewhere, the girls arrive in front of the church, and it's revealed that the pig-masked man is actually a priest. Sloan walks into the church and comes face to face with her rapist. The priest then declares her as Jezebel and states that God is on his side, but Sloan replies that she has her best friend. Suddenly, Katie strikes the priest from behind, knocking him out. The girls then drag him around town in the back of their car. After purchasing some matches, they pour gasoline on him and light him on fire before driving away. That evening, Andrew ties Jason to a chair and declares his intentions on what he will do to the girls. He then turns on a loud radio and takes the new women he's captured to another room. Suddenly, Katie and Sloan sneak behind him and knock him out. The girls then tie him up on a chair and severely torture him. At this point, Andrew begs them to release him by offering some money, and the girls laugh at how everyone keeps negotiating with money. While Andrew tries to apologize, Katie ultimately kills him by shooting him in the head. Katie and Sloan then free the women and request them to free Jason. Now Jason tries to question the women who murdered the sheriff, but they refuse to answer out of gratitude. Following this, Katie and Sloan pay a visit to Jed and Lucas's mother's house and drugs her in the same way she drugged them before. The girls drag the mother to the basement and tie her to a chair. They then show her a captured Jed kneeling on a stack of books with a rope around his neck. The mother begs for her son's life, but the girls start to batter his head with a baseball bat, eventually killing him. The girls then drag the mother in front of Lucas, who has also been detained. They untie Lucas and order him to hit his mother with a bat. His mother begs him not to do it, so Lucas kneels and promises that if they let him go, he will not say anything. All of a sudden, Sloan shoots him in the head and kills him. She then wipes her fingerprints off the gun and places it in Lucas's hand to make it appear as if he committed suicide. Desperate, the mother also offers them money in return for sparing her life. But seeing this, the girls simply laugh and pretend to take the deal. And soon after they get the money, Katie approaches the mother and beheads her with a chainsaw. A few days later, Jason picks up Katie and Sloan at his sister's house to drive them to the airport. But Katie's mother is concerned about the girls, but Jason assures her that they're smart girls and she doesn't need to be worried.